have you ever wondered why do we love animes and shonen so much? There are multiple answers for this question, and each of them can be unique to you. It could be because you like the plot or the flashy animations, or just because you like the vibe and the drawings. Whatever the reasons, I think one of the common traits we share is this. We like to escape from our daily lives and identify with our favorite characters. But it raises the following question: what is it that we identify and like characters more than others? And the answer will be unique as well, and even depend on which point you are in your life. You could like Zoro because he's badass and embodies the philosophy of the lone samurai. You could like Guts because he is the masculine ideal of toughness and going through hardship relentlessly. Or you could like Musashi because of the spiritual journey that he went through by trying to become the strongest until he realizes that it is meaningless. But whatever reasons, there is one common trait shared by the most popular anime protagonists like Goku or Luffy. More than being strong and cool, they most often embody joyfulness and freedom, even to the point where they appear as naive and simple-minded. And it's not a hazard if they are the most popular anime characters. I believe that it is because deep down it is what the human soul is naturally like when you strip it from fear and ego. But reaching that state of mind is hard, and life makes us experience sadness, sorrow or anger, and that's why we unconsciously seek this positivity from our favorite anime protagonist. Thorfinn's journey in Vinland Saga is the perfect illustration of a man trying to overcome his sadness and anger to become more positive, joyful and thus free from the inside. But what is the link with Gear 5's Luffy? And so first, let's talk about the genius behind Luffy's Gear 5's power. Because his powers are literally the embodiment of joy and freedom, which are both deeply intricate. Oda purposefully shows that intricate connection between joy and freedom by the two titles that are given to Luffy: Joy Boy and the Warrior of Liberation. A man so joyful and free that he frees others just by his existence. And his powers are also a perfect example. Luffy is always laughing in Gear 5, and his battle style is more him playing on the battlefield and almost accidentally knocking out his opponent in the process of having fun than actually fighting. And it really made me think about this principle of enjoying the process and not the results. And there is this quote as well which embodies it, which is: the man who loves to walk will get further than the man who loves the destination. And Luffy is definitely that man, as shown in that scene where Usopp asks Riley the truth about the One Piece. He just refuses and he don't wanna hear where the treasure is because he values the process of getting there more than the results. Also, the rubber property of his devil fruit also perfectly embodies freedom, as he can play with everything on the battlefield. And it's clearly illustrated and stated during his fight against Kaido, where we can see on this panel where Kaido says that he's never seen such a freewheeling combat before. And you could even say that the fact that his powers are about rubber also illustrates ultimate flexibility, and a flexible body can only be attained when the body is fully relaxed, thus freed from stress and negative emotion which tense the body. But more on that later. Let's see the difference between power and force. That's why Gear 5 Luffy perfectly embodies today's concept, the difference between power and force. In his book Power versus Force, David Hawkins elaborates on the idea of the opposition between the concept of power and force. From his perspective, power is the alignment of our thought and action with our highest values and principles, and is mainly characterized by feelings of love, joy and peace, which is literally Luffy's philosophy. On the other hand, force is the use of manipulation or coercion to get what we want, and is mainly associated with negative emotions such as fear, anger or shame, which is also literally Kaido's philosophy. And Hawkins' main point is that power is a more efficient and positive approach to achieving our goals and leads to greater fulfillment and well-being. Force is necessary in small doses, as it is impossible to get power without first using force, because force creates momentum. And the examples that Hawkins give: for example, to be brave, you first need to be scared, and to be powerful, you first need to feel powerless. Force is needed to start a change, but once it has done its legwork, momentum takes over and power can be achieved, making force crumble. And I remember when I first started the gym, I started out of shame because of my skinny physique, and that's why I was motivated to transform myself. But after gaining 15 kilos of muscle, now I just enjoy the process of going to the gym and improving myself. That's me before in a sauna, and that was me after my transformation. So you can clearly see the difference. So the map of consciousness developed by David Hawkins. As you can see, there are different levels. I will let you like see it, but I won't read and explain everything. But as you can see, basically you have a negative emotion going to more positive emotion when we go up. And for each state, David Hawkins stated like some emotional state, view of life, God view, and the process of transformation. So from that starting point, Hawkins created a measure of the levels of consciousness of human beings, which is a hierarchy of levels of human awareness ranging from the lowest level of force to the highest levels of power. So as you can see here, we will have the core average point is the limit between force and power. So everything here is power and everything here is force. According to Hawkins, each level of consciousness is associated with a specific set of characteristics and behaviors. We have the same graphic here, which shows the same. Here we have the survival paradigm, which is all the emotion linked to guilt, apathy, desire, fear, anger, pride. Then we go into reason and integrity. And when we are in the state of love, joy, peace, and enlightenment, we are in the spiritual paradigm. The lower levels of the scale, which are associated with force, are characterized by negative emotions and destructive behaviors, while the higher levels are associated with powers and are characterized by positive emotion and constructive behaviors. And Hawkins argues that individuals can cultivate power and move towards higher levels of consciousness by letting go of their ego and practicing acceptance, surrender, and forgiveness. He also suggests that it is possible for individuals to transcend their current level of consciousness and move to a higher level by practicing such spiritual practices like meditation or prayer. And I'm not gonna lie, even though the scientific study backing up this scale is more than debatable, stay with me because the idea is still relevant if you want to achieve your goals better. And if you were to identify where Luffy is on the map, you would at least be at the joy level, which is the opposite of most pirates in the One Piece world, where there will be more in the pride and anger stages. So let's move on. How to raise our own level of consciousness. As I said before, the scientific evidence behind Hawkins' book is highly debatable, but it doesn't mean that we should discard everything. Here is a simple explanation as to why the idea discards there, and the methods that I will next show you are useful. First, we have this concept of the cycle of creation. Basically, it states that your thoughts determine your emotions, which determine your actions, which determine your results in life, as you can see with this wheel. And it also has deeper implications, as a repeated thought becomes a belief, a repeated emotion determines your energy level, a repeated action is a habit, and repeated results determine your life circumstances. So that's why everything that is happening in your life first comes from what is between your two ears, which is your brain. If you want to change your results, you must always start by working on your thought and beliefs first. And there is this quote from Heraclitus which says, "The soul is dyed the color of its thoughts. Think only on those things that are in line with your principles and can bear the light of day." It also makes sense when linked with these two bias, which first we have the confirmation bias. Basically, confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. People display this bias when they select information that supports their views, ignoring contrary information, or when they interpret ambiguous evidence as supporting their existing attitudes. And we have the consistency bias. The consistency bias presents itself as a desire to want to make a series of decisions consistent with our values and our own vision of ourselves. So these two bias clearly illustrates why we tend to repeat the same thought, action, and emotion every day, and also why it's so hard to change. So what you need to understand is that what you put your focus on amplifies. Our brain naturally selects and filters information from the outside world based on our worldview and beliefs. If you just buy a new pair of shoes or a car, the chances are that you will start to see them everywhere, and that's because you've been focusing on this new car or the new shoes recently. So your brain will just filter the world around you and make you view these things more. But it's not like everyone bought the same new pair of shoes as you. It's just that you are starting to see them more because your brain filtered it from your recent focus. Also, we have 6,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are the same as the previous day. And it's because we are always reinforcing this cycle by doing, feeling, and thinking the same things over and over. And that's why if we want to make a change, we need to make a conscious effort to shift our focus and thought. In other terms, it is called identity shifting. So the secret goal to achieving our goals, identity shifting. To achieve our goals, the question is not what to do or how to do them, but who we have to become. That's why the highest form of skill one can acquire to fulfill our potential is the ability to shift our identity, to become a new person, and to learn how to shift our state of being and levels of consciousness intentionally so we can raise ourselves up from our environment and stop being a slave to it. It also makes sense when you take into consideration the 25th law of power, which is recreate yourself. But actually, how can you recreate yourself? By working on the three components of your state of being. So the three components of our states of being. First, we have thought and the mind, the feelings, which can be linked to the earth, and the body, which is physiology. And you have to understand that there is an interconnection between these three components. So basically, here is a little illustration from a book from Deepak Chopra, which is how emotions affect the body. And as you can see, every emotion has direct consequences on our posture and the physical sensation. So for example, if you're feeling sorrow, we'll have this physical sensation of being hollow, have empty feeling, especially in the stomach, the body feels sluggish, listless, and weak. And also I remember when I had a breakup, I was heartbroken. I remember I was actually feeling the pain and like a weight on my earth. Like it was crazy. I was actually very surprised as I was feeling it physically. So that's a direct correlation of the interconnection of these three components. So Nicolas Proupin, a French chiropractor, in his book Become What You Are, states numerous examples of how our body reacts to our feelings. And he has this quote that is very impactful, which is, any structure that does not follow its purpose self-destructs. And if we take this quote and apply it to Kaido, it makes a lot of sense, because he is consistently in this state of anger and sadness, and he is also an alcoholic, so we can clearly see the link here. He also created this wordplay in French, which is GPS, and which be translated by guided by our symptoms. Sadly, it doesn't work in English, but you get the point. His approach is that our physiological symptoms and our addictions are actually signals from our bodies that we are not fully connected to our purpose, and that they mean we have to readjust. He also states that we should be grateful for our symptoms because they are guiding us to our true self. So now let's see techniques to improve on each component. And first, let's start with body, sleep, diet, and sport. Everything starts from the body. If your brain's chemicals are fucked up in the first place, there is no point trying to improve your levels of consciousness. You have to fix your broken body first. And so now let's see the holy trinity of the body. First, we have enough quality sleep. And I really insist on quality because someone can sleep 7 hours and get enough deep and REM sleep, and someone can sleep 9 hours and still not get enough deep and REM sleep because of perturbations. So it's very important to know what is your sleep quality. If you have a device to track it like an Oura Ring or an Apple Watch, it's great, but like you have to be aware of how much sleep your body actually needs. And now we'll see some sleep hacks to instantly improve your sleep if you are not doing them. First, try to keep a consistent sleep schedule as much as possible. It is the hardest of them all, but it is actually maybe one of the most effective solutions. Then shut off all lights. Same, if you have any lights from, I don't know, your routers or anything that are making lights, cut them because it will disrupt your sleep. Have a wind out routine before sleeping. You can also try blue light blockers. Basically filters blue light from the screen, which disrupt your circadian rhythm and will make you awake longer. So that's why people can go to sleep at 2 a.m. scrolling on TikTok, because the light from their phone are actually keeping them awake. If you have blue light blockers, you will feel sleepy sooner, because even if you're watching something on your computer or phone, because it will actually filter the blue light. Also, try not to be on your phone and computer in the bed, and keep the bed only for sleeping or sex. Like that's also a very important thing, because if you are doing something else than sleeping in your bed, your brain will not actively link it with the fact of sleeping. So it will also link it with being awake. So it will also not help for sleeping. Also try to hit 2 hours before going to sleep, because if you are in digestion before going to sleep, it will actually disrupt your sleep schedule. And also you can do a little mind up before going to sleep to avoid overthinking. If you see that you have a lot of thought and things like that, you can just take a pen, paper, and just write anything that is on your mind to empty it, and then yeah, you can go to sleep. Then we have diet. So in the book The Ultramind Solution, the author talks about several examples of patients who had severe depression, went to several doctors and took meds without seeing any improvement, only to realize that everything started because of food or heavy metal intoxication from their diet and lifestyle. So do not underestimate the impact of diet. Food is the fuel that your body uses to work, and you won't put cheap gas into a Ferrari. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big expert on diet, so I won't be giving advice on that topic, but you should be aware of how it's impacting your body, and try to actually, if you're not doing it already, trying to really be aware when you're eating something, the effect that it has on your energy levels and even mood and stuff, because it can really have a very deep impact. And then we have, of course, regular physical activity. Teaching nothing new here, so let's move on. But actually I will dive a bit deeper into it, because of course everyone says that you should be more regular in your physical activity, but there is also a lot of, like, when we're talking about rising our consciousness levels, doing physical activity will make you, of course, stronger, better looking, more in shape and stuff, which of course will make you more confident. It will help you to escape from the shame that you can feel. And as I said, when I first started going to the gym, I started out of shame, so it was a good motivation, but it is better not to stay in that state of shame forever. Like actually going to the gym or doing any kind of physical activity that will improve yourself and make you feel good will help you escape from the survival paradigm and negative emotions and move towards the latest level of the spectrum. So let's get back to where we were. So now the mind, mindfulness, journaling, and identity sheets. So first we have meditation. You can try several types of meditation. It's actually like one of the best things to do in my opinion, especially in today's digital world that is just like so fast and we have so much information going to our brain all the time. Actually taking time to just breathe and relax is like very good for the mind. There are a lot of different types of meditation. I think I will be doing a dedicated stream on this topic because because I have a lot to say, but I would actually recommend 3 types of meditation. You can try mindfulness meditation, especially with Headspace, which is an app. They also have a documentary on Netflix if you want to get more into it. It can be a great introduction. So you can do mindfulness meditation. You can try breathwork as well. That is very good. You just have to type breathwork on YouTube and you will find thousands of different videos, guided meditation, and also cardiac coherence, which is very great. It's about inhaling 5 seconds and then exhaling 5 seconds and doing this for 5 minutes. And if you actually do this 3 times a day, it will drastically lower your stress levels and cortisol levels. So it has been like scientifically proven. I don't have the studies, but just cardiac coherence on Google and like you will see like that there is a lot of studies and evidence backing this up. 2, we have journaling. So journaling, you can do brain dump, as I said before. You can also be answering questions if you are maybe following a book that like help you, like it can be question for introspection or stuff like that. You can search on Google or like think about your own questions. Like if you have actually questions that you're asking yourself in life, you can just write the question and try to answer it and expand your thoughts on that. Also, you can write what you are your recent successes and things you are grateful for, which will help you feel better, more confident, and also feel basically happier for what you already have in life. You can also reflect on past mistakes and failure and accepting them as learning opportunities. And it's very important to actually go to the acceptance part, because of course if you don't accept you making mistakes and failing, you will of course be in this state of shame and anger towards yourself, which is not the goal, because the goal of this is to move toward joy and freedom. And 3, we have the identity sheet. Identity sheet is basically having your own personal and private documents where you will write everything about yourself, your future, your vision, and that you will read every day. So you can write your goals. You can also write your 2.0 identity. So what do I mean by that? 2.0 identity is basically who you want to become. Who is the 2.0 version of you. By writing this and then reading it every day, you will be able to, of course, remember yourself about what you want, who and you want to become, and actually work towards becoming this person in the day. You can also write your values and some rules for life if there are some things that you really want to remember yourself every day. And 3, we have the emotions with visualization and gratefulness. So emotions are often the missing piece of the puzzle. Sometimes we are conscious of what we want and we can see the vision, because we can't feel it deep inside, we actually don't take action on it. Because only reading and thinking about our vision every day is not enough from my experience. Because when you only read and think about it, you end up on autopilot when reading, and it stops you moving emotionally, especially when you are reading it every day for a long period of time. So that's why a visualization practice that makes you emotionally connected and invested in your mission and goals is key to staying consistent in the long run and maintaining that inner flame and drive. So here are some things you can visualize. You can visualize your goals. Same, you can visualize how would you feel when you have achieved your goals, what you will see, what you will hear, what you will feel on your body. Is this something different? What will be your energy level? Stuff like that. The more precise you are, the more you will be able to actually feel it, because our brain is not making any difference between reality and fiction. So that's basically why our movies work. We are scared of something that we consciously know that isn't real, but our brain doesn't make the difference. So if you can close your eyes and actually visualize very precisely goals and how you will feel when achieve them, you can actually feel already this before even having the goal attained. You can also visualize things that you did that made you proud, to connect to this feeling of confidence and being proud. You can also visualize you acting differently in certain situations. Like for example, if you have some bad habits you want to remove, you can visualize yourself like not indulging in the bad habit and being strong in this situation. So by doing this, you have way more chances when you will be in the same situation in the future to not indulge in the bad habits. And you can also visualize yourself succeeding in a very specific practice or skill. You can, for example, you having a business, you can visualize sales and visualize yourself handling objection from the clients. You can also visualize yourself achieving your habits for the day. And for example, if you play Smash Bros like me, you can visualize yourself in some situation in the game and how you would adapt and act depending on what your opponent will do. Even in tournament, you can do that before a very important set if you have analyzed your opponent or something like that. So it's actually very, very powerful practices if you're doing them. And also here are some guided meditation, but like I wrote meditation, but they are more like visualization that you can try, because for me I have a distinct difference in my mind about meditation and visualization. Meditation will be more in the process of relaxing yourself and stuff, and visualization will be more the process of trying to feel something by visualizing. So you can try the Vishen Lakiani 6 phases meditation. The Joe Dispenza habit meditation are very great as well, but they're a bit long. That's the thing. And you can also try soma breathing, which is basically the breath work and visualization in the same format. And so we have seen how you can improve on these 3 components, and I wanted to conclude this video with how these practices actually helped me during the toughest period of my life. Because if I'm doing this stream and doing this video, it is because understanding this really helped me get through the toughest period of my life. When I was living in Estonia 2 years ago, my revenue fell off drastically because of a few bad strategic decisions in my businesses, and I ended up in debt, not being able to pay my rent anymore, and I was forced to live on my friend's couch. I managed to pay my debts and get a new apartment, which was the cheapest possible, and I ended up depressed and lost after clearing that. And it's at this time that I really started meditating and using visualization more and more, because without it, my base internal state was shame and guilt, which was stopping me from taking action and being creative, because when you are in negative emotions, you are more tense and you can't think and create meaningful things. Well, it's way harder, like to build something out from these emotions. And there is this quote which states that the same action produced with two different intentions bring two very different results. And I really believe that when you create something with the intention being creating something great and you feel joyful about this and you are happy to do it because you feel happy with yourself, you will create something that's way better than when you're creating something out of guilt or shame. It will be the difference between scarcity and abundance. These practices helped me get through this period and rise from my depressive and ashamed state. And that's why by sharing with you guys, I hope some of you will be inspired by this and will see some results by applying some of these practices in their life. So that was it for today's lesson. If you liked it, feel free to like, subscribe and comment below. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stream, as I don't have a consistent stream schedule at the moment. And for those on stream, feel free to ask your question in the chat, and then probably be playing some Smash just after that.